Hello guys, and welcome to this segment I usually call Coffee Chats, but today it's like 37 degrees, so it's just like way too hot to be having a coffee, so I'm just drinking water. But yeah, usually what this segment is when I'm out in the field filming some content and decide to have a bit of a break, make myself a coffee, do a bit of a live chat with you guys, and if you have any questions on survival or myself or anything like that, that's the time to sort of answer them. I know I haven't done a live in a while. I've just had a lot going on, been a bit busy, but I have got some new bits of kit to show you today. The guys at Prep Pro, so Prep Pro Australia, sent me a couple more of their new own branded range of knives to test out, which I have tested out quite a bit and found them to be good. I'll run you through them. So I've got the Recon and the Zulu. So they sent me these two to test out. But we'll get into the Recon first. So Recon. So that is the Recon. It is sort of like a hybrid between a Tanto and a drop point. Full tang, 5mm thick. Does have a 90-degree flat grind just at the top here. Does all the way down, but it gets a bit thinner. As you can see, it tapers off at the top. ABS handle, 5CR15 stainless steel. It's got some decent grip on it too, so I actually enjoyed using this knife. You could do a little bit more chimping up here, but other than that, I actually quite like this knife. It's just sort of general sort of bushcrafter. Usually I'm a little bit wary of Tanto style blades, purely just because of sharpening them. They are a bit more difficult to sharpen than a standard sort of drop point. But I haven't had any problems with this one too. I mean, that 5CR15 stainless is great for edge retention. So I haven't managed to dull it yet. Comes in a ABS case or sheath, which it's actually got a really nice clip to it. So, and of course you've got your belt clip, which if you are that way inclined, you can actually turn that around to run it scout carry. If you don't know what scout carry is when you have your knife on your back, but it's like side on, so you can just reach around behind and pull it out. But that's the Recon. So they also sent me the Zulu as well. So the Zulu is a little bit more different to what I'm used to. So the Zulu that's the Zulu there. So that is a full Tanto style blade. Does have a ring grip. So my hands are quite small. It's probably got to be a bit more comfortable for someone with bigger hands. But that ring grip ensures that your hand is not going to slide down the blade while you are using it. Got a really nice sharp 90-degree flat grind on the back, which is perfect for striking ferro rods. And yeah, again, full tang, 5mm thick. But that is that's the Zulu that they sent me. So I've tested these two knives out that they sent me to check out, and I haven't managed to damage them in any way. And if you have seen some of the videos on my channel, you know that I am not gentle on my knives. So also they sent me this one a while ago, so that's the Prep Pro Warden which they sent me, which has been an absolute fantastic knife as well. So these are 3 of the flagship blades from Prep Pro that they've sent me to check out. Oh, sorry, again, this one does also have like your ABS sheath with, again, it has a really nice clip to it. It's really steady, not going to come off, and again, has the adjustable belt clip, which you can again twist to go scout carry. But yeah, so anyway, that's some of the stuff that they've been sending me to check out. I also decided for a bit of a laugh, went down to my local camping shop and purchased one of these, which is one of the little survival kits in a tin or a box. This one just happens to be in a plastic box, and I'll have a bit of a chat about this as I'm pulling it apart. But this one I got from my local camping shop here for $35. Before I get into it, I will say that there is no right answer when it comes to a survival kit. Your survival kit should be as personal to you as your taste in music, basically. Your survival kit should reflect your skills. If you find you are lacking in a certain sort of skill, your survival kit should be stacked to that. So where I live, for most of the year it's quite wet, and so in my personal survival kit I've got more things to make lighting fires easier, purely just because, like I said, it's quite wet for most of the year, and that just makes it easier for me. If you are lacking in another area, make sure that your survival kit has that. But I find that these kits are a decent starting point. However, I'm not a big fan of the boxes. I personally make my survival kits in a can, because if you break open your survival kit, there's no point keeping it in here. If you ever need your survival kit, there's no point keeping it in the box, because if you lose the box, you've lost absolutely everything. So once you find yourself in a survival situation, first thing you do, break open your kit, put it in your pockets. That way, you're not going to lose everything all in one go. But in saying that, that's another reason why when I make my own survival kits, I tend to put them in a tin or a billy cup or something like that, because then the tin for my survival kit also is a way I can boil water as well. But we'll get to see what's in here. So what's I got? Knife, fire starter, wire saw, candle, compass, fishing kit, matches, emergency whistle, signal mirror, pencil, snare wire, cotton wool, an accident report form, and survival instructions. So it has been a while, man. I've been I've had a fair bit of stuff going on lately, so I haven't been able to get on live. But we'll go through this kit. Oh, before I leave you there, Brett, the guys from Prep Pro sent me a couple more people openers to test out. So the Recon and the Zulu. If you are looking for a new knife, check them out, because I haven't been able to damage them yet, and like I said, I am not gentle on my knives. Alright, so let's get into this. So like I said, I like to make mine in a tin because it's a way I can boil water. Okay, so we have a standard accident evaluation report. So basically what this is if you're handing a casualty off to a paramedic or something like that, it's basically just all the information that you'd need to hand off. So name, age, sex, type of accident, time of accident, date, weather, apparent injuries, last food intake, any allergies, and then you just draw on there where the injury is. Basically, it's everything a paramedic needs to know to do handoff. Unsure as to why that's in a survival kit. Normally you find these in first aid kits, but considering there's no first aid items in this survival kit, it's a little bit odd. You got your standard sort of survival cheat sheet. This one actually has both northern and southern hemisphere, which is kind of cool. I have bought kits. I'm in the southern hemisphere, if you don't know. I have bought survival kits before and read the information that you get in there, and it's all been for northern hemisphere sort of things. And I'm like, oh, that's a great help. I mean, I can navigate by the stars here, but if you're telling me to look for the North Star in the southern hemisphere, it's not going to happen. Alright, so a couple cotton wool bowls. I mean, they're good for making making part of a filter, but also great tinder. Little tea light candle. Yeah. I mean, I could see the value of it, but I mean, you could boil a cup of water on it or something, provide you a little bit of warmth, but now this is my biggest issue with these kits, is these little knives that they give you. Now that knife there is fully serrated. Serrations on knives are good for cutting ropes. They're not much good for a lot of other things, especially bushcrafting things. If I was to use this to try and whittle down some branches and make something, I'm going to find it very difficult. And also, it's only sharpened on one side. It's completely flat on this side and sharp on that. But again, this whole kit was $35, so yeah. Some little brass wire. So this is trapping wire. It's probably a couple of meters of it. It didn't tell me how much is in there, but by the looks of that, you've probably got a couple of meters. Good for one or two little snares, as long as you're catching things like rabbits, rats. I wouldn't be trying to catch anything big with it, but not too many survival kits around actually still include trapping wire. We have a housewife. Now, if you don't know what a housewife is, it's an old army slang term for a sewing kit. Excellent little thing to have, little sewing kit. Basically a couple of safety pins. I don't know why there's buttons in there, but then there's some threads. Good for repairing your gear, or stitching up your own wounds if you have to. We've got a little fishing kit here, but again, you've probably only got about 2 meters of line. So the hardware's good though. You got a whole pile of hooks, snap swivels, little crimp-on sinkers. But again, you're probably going to need more line. Again, that's one issue I have with these little kits is, I mean, if I was to not go through this and just like buy it, throw it in my car, and I found myself in a gnarly situation, this kit probably wouldn't help me as much as it could. So I do suggest that if you do go and buy one of these like pre-made survival kits, go through it and adapt it to your needs. One of these wire saws. Every survival kit on the planet has got these wire saws. Now these wire saws are a bit of a peeve of mine, because yes, they work if you know how to use them properly. A lot of people just show you putting it around something and then just going like that, but if you do that to a log, you're going to snap that very quickly, because as that log gets smaller, as you're cutting through it, that's getting tighter and tighter and tighter until that will eventually just snap. So there is a way that you can actually turn these into sort of like a bow saw, and they do work that way and they last longer. But if you are going to just do it like that, make sure that you're pulling out to the sides and not just straight back at you, because you're just pulling straight back at you, you're going to snap this thing in no time at all. It's one of those things that not many people ever use them, so they never really get to know how to use them. But there is a trick to it to make sure that you keep them going for what you need them for. Little button compass. See if it points north. It's relatively north. I'm not a fan of these little button compasses. How are you, Just Rusty? But in saying that, no compass, or one of these compasses is better than no compass at all. You just got to be very careful, because these compasses, especially these little ones that they put in a lot of survival kits and everything, you put it near anything metal and it's going to throw you off. And a lot of the times they will mount them in something metal and they just will not work from the get-go. So just always double check, make sure that the compass isn't near anything metal. Alright, we have a little book of matches. These are funky matches. What have we got there? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they are wooden matches, they're not paper matches. It's just one big block of them though, so you got to snap them apart. But that's cool. I like that. That is really flat. Nice space saving. I like that. Just some random sort of safety pins. They're good for things. One tiny little ferro rod. Now this ferro rod is probably like 4 mil in diameter. It is very, very small. I mean, it'll get you out of trouble. But yeah, always good to invest in a decent one. I'm from Western Australia, so southwest of Western Australia. Okay, then of course you've got a pencil from the Philippines. Nice. Okay, one of your standard sort of survival whistles. Two-tone survival whistle. Okay, that's cool. And that just has a clip, so you can sort of like just clip it on something so you don't lose it. Then of course the box has a mirror in it, so I think let's just get a sort of film on it. Ah, yeah, it does. It has a protective film on it, so obviously you got a bit of a signal mirror. So if you want sort of signal for rescue. Then of course you got the box. The box is not waterproof or anything like that. Yeah, I'm in Western Australia. So that's basically these little kits. Now these little kits are everywhere. They are a dime a dozen. My advice to anyone who buys one of these kits is to go through it and adapt it to your needs. So go through it. I mean, this kit as it stands by itself is okay at best, but with a bit of tweaking you could actually make it pretty decent. It's a good starting point, if you get what I mean. They are a good starting point, but I wouldn't trust it as a standalone sort of kit. But that's it there. So that's the entirety of the kit. Now, my survival kit, my own personal one, which I think is over on my desk somewhere, is actually in a 7-litre cup. So straight off the bat, the container that my survival kit's in is also part of the survival kit. Actually, it might be in here. No, it's not in there. Yeah, just reviewing some bits of equipment I've picked up over the last few weeks or months. Like I was talking about before, the guys from Prep Pro sent me a couple more knives to test out, which I've been hammering around and actually found them to be quite capable. 5CR15 stainless steel, rather comfortable, 5mm thick, flat grind on the back, pretty much perfect for what I need. So that's the Recon, Prep Pro Recon, that they sent me to test out. And then there's the Prep Pro Zulu they sent me to test out, which is again another like very sharp knife, decent for what I need it for. My hands are probably a little bit too small to decently use the ring grip, but I don't mind. And then of course we have my favourite one that they've sent me, which is the Prep Pro Warden, which is an absolute beast of a knife. So, but bear with me 2 seconds, I'll go and grab my personal survival kit and I'll show you what I mean. No, sorry, I do apologise. My personal survival kit is actually out in my car. I thought it was on my desk. But, anyway. And then, of course, like, one thing I never go into the bush without is my Shmarg. If you don't have a Shmarg, if you don't know what a Shmarg is, it's basically just a cotton sheet, basically. If you don't have one of these, I really suggest you get one. They are good for a lot of things. Everything from first aid to collecting water, filtration, keeping the sun off you. They are amazing things, and there is always one in my bag. Yeah, they are very useful. I'm always big on knives, purely because in a survival situation, a knife gives me the ability to stay still. If you understand what I mean. So if I have a knife, a decent knife, I can actually make things. I'm not at the will of of my situation as much. I can make things that I need. If I didn't have a knife with me in a survival situation, then I purely have to rely on finding what I need. I can't make things. So that's why I'm always big on making sure that you have a decent knife on you. But yeah, always big on that. Another thing I'm always big on. Ooh, that got all tangled up. Is paracord. Not just paracord, this is survival cord. There is a difference. If you don't know what the difference between paracord and survival cord is, I'll tell you now. Paracord basically is like survival cord, but the difference is in here. So paracord usually has 7 strands if you get a decent paracord. So you have the outer sheath plus 7 strands of inner core, and that is your standard sort of paracord. However, survival cord has usually got an extra 2, 3, 4 strands. So this particular survival cord has actually got this lengthy yellow one that runs through the whole thing. Now that's actually braided fishing line. Then you've got this red one, which is jute cord, so it's wax jute cord. It's actually a really good tinder source. And then of course you have this other white one, which is just a strand of cotton, like sewing cotton. The one I had before this had an extra strand, which was actually a length of brass trapping wire. So you can get survival cord with different sort of strands in there. So you've still got your 7 plus your sheath, so you can stretch it out to 8 times the length. But you've also got those added things in there, which makes survival cord, in my opinion, a bit better than your standard sort of paracord. I do use paracord a lot, but this is my own personal survival cord. I don't use this one unless I have to. However, this one is sort of getting to the end of its life, so I will probably end up using this and buying more. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks. I had it ages ago, took it out, and recently sort of just put it back in. I got little kids and they tended to sort of try and grab at it. Speaking of cord, if you can get your hands on some of this, this is what's known as hoochie cord. It is very thin, very lightweight, but it is extremely strong. It's also very similar, or the same sort of cord as you get for spear guns. So you can just get a roll of spear gun cable. This one I just bought at my local army surplus, but you can get different colours. But it is excellent cordage, super strong, super lightweight. Then of course I got my saws and stuff as well. I do have a silky somewhere, but I can't find it at the moment. But I do have a standard sort of pull saw. Now the idea of these saws is basically the cutting action is on the pull, not the push, and a little bit better for the saw, a little bit better for your arms and everything like that, because you can actually just use your weight instead of just using your arms the whole time. It conserves a bit of energy. That's for doing sort of small work. If I'm doing sort of larger work, I do carry one of these. Which is your sort of bush saw. Now these things sort of cut through pretty well anything. I'm from the southwest of Western Australia, so just south of Perth, if you heard of Perth. A few 100 kilometres south of Perth. But if anyone has any survival related questions or anything like that, or bushcraft related questions, or anything like that, feel free to ask. I'll answer them the best I can, and if I can't answer them, I'm sure I'll probably be able to put you in the right direction of where to be able to find that information. Before I keep going, I've noticed a few people here. If you don't know who I am, I'm Spud. I am the owner of Survive at Southwest and this channel, Survival How To, where I use my experience of the previous 20 years in search and rescue to teach people how to sort of keep themselves alive and survive and make it easier for rescue to find where you are. So that's what I do. My best kit. The best kit is the kit you make yourself. You know what your skills are. You know what your weaknesses are. You know the area that you're going into. So you build yourself a kit that builds up your weaknesses and helps you in the terrain that you know. That is my answer to that. So there is no right answer when it comes to a survival kit. Like I was saying before when I started talking about the survival kits, where I live is quite damp for most of the year. So my survival kit has got more to do with lighting fires or making it easier to light fires than anything else. So that's just my answer to that, is the best kit is the kit you make yourself. I mean, by all means, go out and get one of these kits, but use it as a base. Don't use it as a standalone thing. Build your kit from something. Thank you. But yeah, so that's my answer to that question. Start off with a kit, store-bought kit, and build your kit on from there. You'll have to excuse me drinking. I'm getting over some tonsillitis, so throat's getting a bit dry. Then of course I've usually got a few different ways of filtering water as well, so I mean everyone knows what a life straw is. I've got one of these and I've got some Puri tabs, and if you look on in my videos you'll see I also have a Puri bag which can filter 10 litres of water in 30 minutes. Fantastic bit of kit. I've used it many times. It's got me out of the shit on hikes where the water source has been a little bit suspect. Being able to filter 10 litres of water to restock for the hike going on from there. Although one thing, this is actually something pretty cool. Now we all know what a ferro rod is, yes? A lot of people get a ferro rod mixed up with a flint and steel. So we should have a ferro rod in here somewhere. If not, it's in my other kit. Right. We've all seen one of these. So, this is a ferro rod. Basically, it's an alloy. It's a ferrocerium alloy. Basically, it throws sparks. Depending on the quality of the ferro rod, can be up to about 1300 degrees, these sparks. A lot of people call this a flint and steel. But this is not a flint and steel. What's in here is a flint and steel. So flint is actually a rock, and a steel is just that. It's a bit of steel. In order to use flint and steel, you actually need a better tinder source, something like char cloth or something like that. And basically, I don't have char cloth on me, I have it somewhere else, but if you want to use a flint and steel, you can't just sort of throw sparks. What you need to do, you sort of need to put your tinder like right on the edge, like that, and then sort of try and throw sparks into it. Now, lighting a fire with these is sort of an art form. I've only ever done it a couple of times. I've tried many times. it's still something sort of, I find it really cool being able to try and light a fire with an actual flint and steel. Oh, and if you've ever seen these are kind of cool. So this is just like a tinder thing, and you just want to put the fire out, you just go boop, and puts it out. So that way you can just keep fluffing the end up, using it as tinder, getting your fire started, putting it out. And as long as you sort of keep it dry, you'll be able to light many fires with something like that. And then of course, like, because this was a gift to me, so. And of course it also came in this awesome sort of handmade leather pouch, which unfortunately the company that makes these pouches have gone sort of out of business, which is a shame because it is like really good quality. But yeah, so if anyone has any sort of survival related questions, feel free to ask and I will answer it to the best of my ability. And if I can't answer it, I should be able to point you in the right direction to be able to find the information. Still got food in my bag from last time, but luckily, like, these meals last a hell of a long time, so they can just stay in there. Yeah, one thing I do like, I like the fact that everything's getting smaller, because this little bag right here that literally fits in my fist is actually my stove, and it is the best stove that I've ever had when it comes to camping or hiking. It weighs virtually nothing and basically just sort of folds out, and that's it. And I can put a decent sized pot on that, and that basically just screws straight on to the top of that. That's it. So that's some of the equipment that I personally carry. I mean, shit, this thing has made a lot of coffees. A lot of coffee. Which, if anyone knows me personally, probably saves a lot of lives. And of course, in the rest of my bag is a lot of batteries and GoPro equipment and lights and tripods and all sorts. Then of course I've also got the pot and that. So that's my entire cooking system basically in that. Gas bottle and all. And then of course I've got first aid kit and snake bite kit. So this is my own personal first aid kit. I do have many first aid kits, but everything from like a massive trauma bag for running triage all the way through to tiny little first aid kits, but this one I found is just sort of like the happy medium for what I need for just myself, because usually when I go out filming I am all by myself. I don't have anyone else that comes out with me, so, but this is probably the second most important bit of kit that I carry, because I can have the best first aid kit on the planet, but if people can't find me, then it's not going to do me any good. So on the front of my bag, I have this. And this is probably the most important bit of equipment that I carry. And that is a PLB. So if you don't know what a PLB is, it's a personal location beacon. So if you've got a boat, you'll know it as an EPIRB. This is just one for overland. And what it does basically is it sends a distress beacon with your location to, in Australia it's managed by the Australian Maritime Safety Authority, so they monitor the channels. What it does is it sends a distress beacon with your location to the square meter, and they will receive that no matter where you are on the planet. They will receive that and they will dispatch a rescue. Now this has a battery life of 7 years before I either have to get the battery replaced or buy a new one. But yeah, this one's probably my second one now. The first one I got second hand and didn't have as much battery life left, so it was to get me through until I could purchase this one. Now this one isn't like a Zoleo or anything like that. It doesn't turn my phone into a satellite phone or anything. This is purely just a I'm hurt, come get me sort of alarm. And it's very simple to set off basically. Push that red button, aerial folds up, green one's a test button, red one's a I need help button. And basically you just keep it with you. And that'll continuously send a distress beacon or a distress message with your location to the Australian Maritime Safety Authority, and they will dispatch someone to come and rescue you. And yeah, so that is like the most important bit of kit that I carry. So this one's a GME AccuSat. There are a few others out there. Spot, Rescue Me, Zoleo, the Garmin InReach Mini. There's quite a few out there. This is just the one that I thought, upon doing my research, is best for what I do. I don't need one that turns my phone into a satellite phone, purely because my phone has got satellite phone built into it, because I don't buy into iPhone, Samsung sort of things. I buy rugged phones built for the outdoors, and a lot of them have got some pretty cool features on them, like having my phone being able to convert to a satellite phone whenever I need it. Obviously it's quite expensive if you do that, but it's better than the alternative. So yeah, so that's some of the new equipment I've got recently, some of the equipment I carry for you people who haven't seen my bag packed or anything like that before. And yeah, so that's going to be pretty much me for the night, and I will catch you all later. Thanks for sticking around, and be sure to check out my actual channel, check out the videos. There's like 60 or 70 videos on there, all different survival skills. There's a few on there that are different equipment, stuff like that, but yeah, most of them are single skill survival videos, and yeah, be sure to check them out. Catch us later.